today we have Xuan, whom I think is a really amazing individual and artist as well. Um, I've always been a fan of Bobby Chu's work, and to my surprise, we actually have a Singaporean artist who has worked quite closely with Bobby before, and she's none other than Xuan. And one of the biggest things that surprised me in my conversation with her is that for the Lightbox Expo that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of. It's kind of like the very inspirational convention for artists. That logo itself has been designed by Xuan. So without further ado, let's get her on the show. Hey Xuan.
Hey everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, nice to meet you here. So yeah, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? I'm just curious, like a little bit about your whole career. How do you meet Bobby Chu, and how did this whole art career of yours started?
Uh, okay, so I'm from TP, Temasek Poly, and then when I graduated, I actually went to join Singapore Airlines. So I joined SQ, and I flew for 5 years. And but when
FQ,
I was
Singapore Airlines.
yeah, so yeah, I went to fly for 5 years. But then when I was flying, I never really left art. So I was doing graphic design for them in house. I also did some comics for them. I also try to keep relevant. So I was actually looking at going to art school. So for me, there were only two choices: SVA or RISD. So one is in New York, one is in Pasadena. No, it's Rhode
Christy,
Island.
I think it's in Rhode
So
Island. Yeah, it's in
Rhode Island,
Providence.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the name. Yeah.
yeah.
So so I was saving up to go for these schools, but it was like too expensive. I even went to like on one of my flights, I changed for a New York flight, and then I went for like open house at SVA,
Oh,
and
you
then
really went for the
I went
open
to
house at SVA. What was the
yeah,
experience like?
I
I'm just curious. Like, is it like a very big event with a lot of people coming in to look at the students' work, or they
yeah,
like
they had like the typical showcase of the alumni work, and they try to throw out the names like, oh, James Jean came here, uh
hmm.
John Foster teaches here, blah blah blah, which are the names that I really look up to. So that was also why I wanted SPA. And then yeah, but they also show us the hostel rooms, and then that one kind of deterred me a bit. It's like one shoebox and two people inside. I said, oh, okay. Really damn hardcore. So yeah, I only saw Rich D a few years later. Like, that was like so my heart was actually, and it was quite expensive. So I ended up taking a lot of schoolism classes. At that time, it was pretty new, like digital learning.
Hmm.
So I took
Yeah.
so many classes that, yeah, I took a lot of classes that they kind of noticed me. And yeah, at the end of it, I was quitting SQ, and I joined this in-house workshop thing where you kind of go in, and then you have four international artists staying together for 1 month,
Wow.
and it's like an art boot camp. So yeah, so from there, guest artist was Bobby. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of got to know him from there, and then it's just a small group, right? Like four people from all over the world, and
Hmm.
it's just Bobby and Kay. So we got kind of close, and then one of the years, I think we talked about this. There was this event in Singapore called Start event. I think it's by 3D Sense.
Hmm.
And then Bobby and Kay were also the guest artists. So when they came here, I was like, oh, let's get together. I'll bring you guys around. And then we did. This bubble tea very distracting, making me itchy. And then and then okay, I stopped. Okay. And then yeah, so I brought them around, and then they were like, oh, do you wanna, so Bobby was like, do you wanna come and join me in Toronto, in Canada, so you can
Hmm.
be my apprentice. So yeah, so I went there and I was his apprentice for half a year,
Hmm.
because my visa can only allow you to stay there for 6 months.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So at the end of it, he kind of said like, we're sad to see you go. Is there any way we can get you to stay with us? What can you do? and at that time I didn't know. He didn't tell me, but he really needed a graphic designer, and he somehow forgot that my diploma was in graphic design. So yeah, it kind of worked out that way. I did like a trial for them, school
Mm-hmm.
Cisco, and then yeah, kind of it just when that was like 6 years ago. Yeah.
Mm. Cool. So I think what you're mentioning was your background in graphic design did help you to kind of like, get the work um to work with Bobby lah. Is that
Mm,
right?
mm, mm. Yeah,
Wow.
so he kind of said like, while you do graphic design for us, we'll groom you as an artist. So I
Mm.
also get like to take any schoolism classes I want. I was already taking quite a few, so
Oh
now
wow.
yeah, and it's really cool because I get to work on the upcoming ones. So I worked on like all the like class titles that you see on schoolism and
Mm.
some most of them I would say, yeah. So that's really cool. Like I get to know like, oh, Craig Mullins is having a new class, blah blah blah, and then I also get to sit in on it and get to
Oh
see it made. Yeah,
wow.
it's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. So you actually had the luxury. I mean, it really is a privilege, I suppose, right? To be able to just work with all these world class artists, right?
For sure, for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Any one of your favorite artists that were there that you looked up to and they allowed you
Uh,
to sit in their
favorite
classes as
artist.
well? Yeah.
Ian Mckay, of course. Ian. I took his class actually not from schoolism. Before he had a schoolism class, which is
Mm.
coming out. Please go to schoolism.com. Uh, he was on Smart School. So I took his Smart School class and
Mm.
got to know him before he joined schoolism. Yeah. But Ian is always a good one. I really like. I mean, Craig Mullins, everybody knows. Bobby,
Yeah.
everybody knows. Yeah, those were classics. And
Mm.
oh, Dice and Robert.
Ah, Dice. Ah,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
Dice
okay.
Utsumi and
Yeah,
Robert
and Robert.
Kondo. All
Yes.
these people like crazy. Now we have Victor Coverchef and like Bobby's just gathering all those like favorite artists and then getting them to teach. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Have
fantastic.
you taken any schoolism classes?
Not yet, actually. Lately I've been I think for me, I've always wanted to take a Craig Mullins class. It's just been so long because I think for me the at that time when I was still in the season of taking up classes, right? I think price was an issue for me, and
Mm-mm-mm.
Craig Mullins classes
Yeah.
are
Mm.
pricier than anyone else.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like, okay, I got to save up first
yeah,
before
yeah.
I actually take up a Craig Mullins class. And it's a chicken or egg thing. Just Craig Mullins class has such a long wait list, right? So by the time I save up enough, I'm like, wow, I've got to wait until so darn long. Uh, and I guess gave up along the way. Right? And you know what? I may just try again. Yeah, after hearing from
Mm.
you. Yeah.
He is having a new one called Painting Sci-Fi. So
Mm,
it's the whole entire class is just him painting one painting, but you get to see real time, not fast forward or whatever he's thinking, whatever he's doing. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, that may be something I want to check. So this
Mm.
may be a good year for me as well. Um, yeah, we can take that offline, and we can just let you talk like, hey, what's up in my life. But uh, um, I'm also like curious, like
Mm.
this whole conversation is framed as a zigzagging into your world of art for yourself, right? So how would you describe your art journey? Because it's
Yeah.
it's it's really amazing. Because I think for some of your friends who know, right, you
Yeah.
like you mentioned even earlier, you actually you went TP, then to take on a job at SQ
SQ.
Singapore
Yeah.
Airlines, and then you had the opportunity to work with Bobby.
Mm. Yeah. So I think this kind of draws us back to kind of like the topic of this talk, which was like there's so many ways that it can get lost, right? Like I could have stayed on SQ and get a cushy job. I could have, I don't know, like yeah, gone so many other routes. But I will always keep coming back to, they always say like knowing what you like and what
Mm-hmm.
you don't like is important.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of guides you.
Mm-hmm.
it's that double edged because there are a lot of stuff that I really like. I'm a fangirl of a lot of things, but I also know that liking something a lot, you kind of want to, and wanting to be really good at it is like also an extra kind of stress, and then so that can lead you away from actually making your passion what you do for life. Yeah, but I also when I was flying, it's like I remember like I will sit on the cruise seat after we're gonna land during landing we'll sit on a cruise seat, right? We'll buckle in, and I keep thinking like, oh, I keep imagining I'm painting this, I'm painting that, and imagining okay when I touch down, I shower, and then I'm just gonna like start painting. But it's never the case because hardly the case because I will be so tired, and after like a long flight, you just kind of want to decompress. Yeah, and then yeah, so it became very intrusive. So I knew that was the time that I knew I should stop flying because I wasn't happy. Yeah. So that kind of led me to why I quit SQ. One of the many reasons why I quit. So that's how I got from there to yeah, back into the art industry. And then I didn't really know how to get into it. I only know what I have to do, which is to get good. And I mean, yeah, we talked about this. Like there were like two things I knew I wanted to do. One is traveling, one is art. And I mean, ideally one would lead to another, right? I would travel for art, but I'm not art germ, I'm art worm. So I cannot do that. So I know I can fly first. I can travel when I'm young, but it's easier to do one first before the other. And that's traveling first and then art later, right? So yeah, that's what I did. So enough of traveling. I know I should. It's about time, and the age is right to get into art. I didn't know how to do that. I wanted to go to SBA, like I was saying. Yeah, but then that led me to schoolism and then to this. Yeah, it wasn't really planned.
So would you say that it's like you had like a very broad idea of how you wanted to live your life, but it wasn't like some people like I've got some friends who are very very focused, right? I'm somewhere in between, but I've got friends who are very focused. Say, hey, I want to I want to work in a triple A studio, right? And they will go to this particular school, and then from there they work their way up through their projects and tailor their projects to go towards this particular studio or field them, right? And then they push all the way through. So that's one way, which is very directed, very focused, and very laser focused, right? But your way was kind of like it's kind of broad, but you were powered on by something. What would you call that? There's something that guided you to where you
Yeah,
wanted
like
to go, right?
yeah, we talk about this like no, like I mean even in art, there's such a huge industry. There's concept art, there's illustration, there's editorial, there's like character. It's so broad, and I'm still finding it, but yeah, but knowing what you like and knowing what you don't like. I actually make a list of what I really like to draw or paint and what I really don't like to draw and paint, and using that as a moral compass, using that as a like northern star almost to kind of streamline to what you want to do, right? Like I know that I'm bad at drawing, for example, vehicles or like technical stuff, things that are very like buildings. Yeah, but I know I like drawing faces. I like drawing details. I like portraits. I like uh, more figurative stuff, right? So that's kind of also a guideline. Yeah, and that's also knowing what you like. So on Instagram, I would save posts, and then if you look at the post that you save, you actually can see very clearly what you are more drawn to, and that should be your what you should try to strive for. And sometimes it's like a huge thing. I mean, obviously we can appreciate landscape artists or like concept art, world building stuff because you cannot do it, right? So all the more you admire it. But do you actually want to do it? So that's also something I'm also struggling with. Yeah.
So it sounds like your process is kind of like almost like how Michelangelo sculpts a marble. Right? You see a marble, you can kind of figure out how the actual product is like, but you slowly chip it away and then you get the ultimate sculpture, as it is. So you're kind of like working with the marble at the same time. It sounds like it's like for you. It sounds like also it's a process of learning and self-discovery. As you do more, they realize, oh, actually, I don't really like to do, maybe mechanical
Mm.
designs. But I
Yep,
love
yep,
to do
yep.
this.
Mhm.
And then you
Yep.
pour more effort into that, and then you discover more things in that path.
Exactly. Yeah. It leads you somewhere. Like I was telling you yesterday that I never even thought about doing caricatures. I just took it because of the schoolism class. I just wanted to
Mm,
learn how to
mm,
paint digitally, and Jason Zeiler had a course, and I thought, okay, these are among all the other courses which I already took. So left this one, and then there's like they teach you how to go from black and white to full colored, right? And that's
mm-hmm,
something I always had trouble with. So I took the class just to learn solely that. Hey, but somehow while doing that, I enjoyed doing caricature. Suddenly, I'm
mm,
like my whole portfolio is all full of caricatures, and suddenly I'm labeled as like caricature artist or like caricaturist. I'm like, okay, you know.
mm-hmm,
Even now, it's hard to shake off that label, because of
mm,
this series that I did a while back of Lee Kuan Yew, and so some people know me for that, and they think that's the only thing I can do. And I hope
mm,
I'm not that. I'm still trying to not be that as well, and to break out of that mold. Which
mm,
is why my current job as a concept designer, it's a relief, lah. Yeah. Mm.
mm. So it also sounds like you are willing to try new things, right? And to break away from uh, how people define you, because we all grow and evolve all the time, right? When new influences come in, maybe my working process may change, my style may change, and then I may develop a new branch from there, and then
Mm,
just
mm,
grow a new path, right? So
mm.
that sounds like it's has any kind of do you think attitude or belief that has helped you shape you to be a better artist in that sense?
I know I know my friend asked me to not name drop, but I can't help it because I'm made out of parts of a lot of people. So Carter Goodrich, I don't know if people know Carter. I mean, you should, because he's freaking amazing. But Carter Goodrich said this, which I thought was surprising, because for him, he's such a niche designer. He's always the character designer that you go to for very whimsical, exaggerated characters for Pixar, for Disney, for so many films, right? He's known
Mm-hmm.
for that. He's like a classic veteran already, but he's actually told well, not told me, but he actually said that be open to whatever opportunities or where art might lead you. So,
Mm,
and my friend Sunny is always telling me that as well. Like, yeah, just go for like caricature. Just make it your thing. Make it like be open to it, and don't like try to box yourself down into like this. No, I want to be just this. Uh, Concept art artist that can only work for AAA, because that's also a kind of stress that you don't want on yourself.
mm,
Yeah, I'm also trying to not think like that, but I'm
mm.
also trying to accept the label that, okay, sure, if I'm a portrait artist, why not? Yeah, if it works for Carter Goodrich, I mean, why is it not good enough for me? It's like,
Mm,
yeah.
mm, mm, mm.
What about you? Do you struggle with something like that too? Like.
But early on, it was like very clear. I wanted, at least for me, I thought I wanted to be in the animation industry. That's why I was in NTU ADM, on
Right,
digital animation, right, for like 4 years there. And then somewhere halfway down the line, I realized, I mean, concept art is a real thing. Like, production,
right.
pre-production is a real thing, and it's not just animation. And I realized I wasn't so much in love with the whole process of just drawing frame to frame. I
Mm,
was more in love with just drawing and ideating, and
mm,
concept art and world building is just something that really appealed to
mm,
me. So I thought, okay, maybe that's an area that I wanted to go into. So I was doing quite a lot of silly things, like like writing in art center. Hey, can I do like an exchange at art center?
mm, mm.
They didn't
But
get
why
back
is
to
that
me.
silly though? Why is
Huh?
that silly? I mean,
I, I, I was
that's
just I was just trying to find ways to do things. I mean, it didn't get back to me. So at that moment, I felt like a fool, because like, all this effort, that I'm putting in,
mm,
not going anywhere. It's okay. Let me
right.
just do whatever that I can in this environment that I was stuck. I wouldn't say stuck yet. I mean, because it was a fulfilling experience at ADM.
Mm,
I just had to deal with what was my lot. You see. Uh,
mm,
yeah. So eventually, I did go into a design school for a year, and that was when I kind of learned another way of seeing things, which was like being laser focused and being hard towards a goal.
Mm-mm.
And I think that for one reason or another, although it was a very good form of training for myself in terms of building up discipline, um, somehow it just didn't feel right for me. Like, yeah, I can push so hard, but is that really what I want at the end? Just
Mm,
go to a 9 to 5 job, right? Work for a company doing things that belongs to them and just throwing out
mm,
ideas for them. Is that
right.
it? Right. So that was the conversation I have in my head. Is that it? Is that what my art is gonna be? Just churning out work for a company for from 9 to 5, and is that it? And
Mm,
I was struggling with that for the longest time. So I think as the years went on, then it's kind of like really just learning a little bit about myself just by trying different things. So um, when I started freelancing, or when I started doing my own practice, learned that hey, I really enjoy drawing and visualizing things for events,
mm,
special events especially. So yeah, that led me to discover a little bit more about visualizing for entertainment events, and I think that's an area that I want to further and reposition myself in the future as well.
mm.
So yeah, it's kind of mixed. Like I say, I'm kind of in between. I have some goals that I want to hit that I'm sure
Yep.
I push all the way out for that. But at the same time, I'm also open. I'm not going to niche myself. Uh,
Mm-mm.
I'm okay with people branding me as being a certain kind of artist. Okay, you can brand
Mm,
me whatever I want. I'll still do the work. But at the same time, I am willing to build up another vertical or pillar
right.
niche, for myself as
Right.
well. So it's
Right.
yeah, it's just different people with different ways of growing, I
Yep.
guess. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, you hear artists saying like, "Oh, specialize in one thing," and
Mm,
they really solely believe in it because it worked for them. And then
mm,
you hear people who are like, "Oh, yeah, but to be practical, being the jack of all trades, we're getting more jobs,"
mm. I think
which
it
is true.
depends on the context of the market though. In Singapore, it's
Mm,
pretty
mm.
hard to niche down.
Yep. Yep.
Pretty
Yep.
hard to niche down. Um, yeah, but it's all quite subjective and contextual as well. Because there's so many
Mm,
layers of things that can change our change how things work, right? Our context, our network,
mm.
our portfolio. I mean, portfolio is of course the most important thing.
Yep.
Having a good network doesn't
Hurt.
makes things better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's this. I guess yeah, it's debatable. Maybe we can have another conversation. But should we niche down or should we be a generalist, right?
Almost
So for
like a
those of you guys who
full-on
are viewing, yeah, it's another whole entire conversation, right? So if you guys have any opinions about that, for those of you guys who are watching, whether we should niche down or specialize, please comment and then let us know what you guys think. That's something really interesting that maybe if you have time we can also just a little bit about that. Um yeah, so speaking about art goals and specializing on niche, do you personally have any art goals for yourself? Like, any like, oh, I want to come up with a book this year.
Wow, that's my question I was gonna ask.
I
Oh my god, that's my question.
can answer
Still
mine
my
first.
question.
I can answer mine first. Mine is I am
Okay.
working on a project right now. It's a personal project with a few friends. We're trying to come up with like
Mm,
an imaginary Jurassic Park. Like, how would it work in real life? Um, without the dinosaurs escaping. Yeah. How it will work. How
Also, that kind of ties in with what you're saying about you wanting to go more into the theme
yeah,
design.
that's something that I'm personally just interested in. It's just fun. I just feel
Mm,
it's exciting to work on something that thousands or even millions of people could enjoy, like
mm,
physically, as opposed to a virtual product. Uh, yeah,
mm.
that's something I'm working on my friends. Yeah, don't know how it will turn out yet. We're still doing yet sketches and stuff, but yeah, that's something that we're doing.
Does it feel very far away?
Um, yes and no because we have just started. But at the same time, we have also some committed to some goals that we have worked on.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I don't know how it's gonna play out because everyone has different schedules, but we'll just try to push it out as much as we can. If
Mm,
regardless, if there's no product that comes out of it, at least we have something extra in our portfolio, so it's not a
Mm,
lose-lose. It's
get
still,
out of it. Yeah,
yeah,
for
there's still
sure.
something that we can get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yourself? Any art goals?
This one, my ultimate art goal, some of my friends know it's create my own game. I'm sure that's like a shared goal by a lot of people and artists
Oh,
especially. You know,
wow.
you get to play God, you got to build the world, you got to tell your stories, and so for the longest time, yeah, I have this thing where I actually dream a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
dream almost every day, and I remember them very vividly. And
Mm.
so I'm trying to find some way to incorporate that into. I mean, a lot of people have already done that. Paprika, Inception, which is based on Paprika. But yeah, there's so
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
many artists who do that. So if I can play a game like that, there's some. They always say like do, or paint what you want to see or play. So my game is gonna be something I actually want to play. Like if there's a game out there, I don't know if there is. There probably is, but about the dreamscape and world building that's based on reality and anchored by a real storyline, you know, that
Mm.
would be amazing. Yeah. So that's why I'm like looking into like so many things, right? World building, oh, should I go learn 3D? Should I go learn Blender? Thing that help you go towards this. And then, so I told Bobby about this, and he's of course helping me. And like you said, even if it amounts to not the end result of a real playable game, you
Mm-hmm.
can still take pieces of it for your portfolio, and you will still have something to show for it. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, this year we were supposed to work on an art book based on this. So
Oh,
I
wow.
actually, yeah, so it's just an art of book, so art of the game, but the game doesn't exist. So because I just want to be the one to design the thing. I don't want to, and I don't know how to make the game work, right?
Mm.
So I just come up with like the character, the landscape, the ideation, the
Mm-hmm.
character costumes, and then through doing this, I figure out what I actually enjoy. Which part of the concept art do I enjoy? Do I enjoy character
Mm-hmm.
designing? Do I enjoy um, world building? Do I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy I don't know, like the key art, keyframe art, color scripts, which part of it? So it's a self discovery thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, hopefully have something to show for it. But the end goal in my head, yeah, it's like a game that you can play. Anybody,
Mm.
anybody want to buy the rights? Anybody?
We need to put
Sponsor.
this. Yeah, we need to put this. We need to share this video link onto IGDA. Is it the Indie Games Developer
Oh, is
Association? So
it? See, I don't even know this.
so they were like, hey, okay, there's a potential IP here that we can use, and they can contact you. Um,
Yeah.
Meantime, Robbie Poe from IG says hi. Hi, Xuan.
Oh, hi, Robbie. Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Oh, okay. Good, good. Um, yeah. Like, huh? I'm also like very curious. Like, you, what made you study graphic design? Because you mentioned you went to take up graphic design, right? Early on in TP. How did that come about?
Yeah, so this one I will have my friend Eunice who's tuned in to thank. So back in secondary school, it was very clear to me like my results, like what I'm good at and what I'm bad at. So you see, like math, no matter how many tuition sessions I go to, it's like always E8 and D7, single digit marks. So it's very clear that I shouldn't go that route. And art and literature is always like my better grades. So I know that's where I should go. That's where I should focus on. And then at that time, when we took O levels, my best grades were literature and art. And then I was either going to join JC to take to specialize in literature, English lit, or yeah, I'm not sure how else to do the art route. But my friend Eunice told me, hey, I'm going to join this poly, Temasek Poly. Why don't you join me? You can do illustration also, blah blah blah. I said, but graphic design, I don't know anything about it. Can I do illustration? Yeah, there's this component where there's illustration. So I was like, okay. And then at that time, I think it was like portfolio intake. So I went for portfolio intake. I didn't go for the after results thing. So I went for portfolio intake and then I got in. And I also submitted an application for JC, right? But I very took as because I don't know how to do all this paperwork. I didn't pay the admin fee. So they rejected my application because I didn't pay. So I didn't get into the JC, and then but I got into poly already because of the portfolio intake. And also I joined TP because I was looking at the alumni. I said, wow, Stanley Lau, hey, this is like the IFS group people like join. It's from there, Kai and Stan, they're from there. So I was like, okay, I should also give this a try. If these are the people that come out, maybe I can also go this route. So that's how I got into graphic design. And even when I was there, it was very clear that I'm very bad at the technical stuff like pre-press, which is preparing print file, foil, all that. I'm not very good at that, but I enjoy the aesthetics of it, but I'm not very good at it. And I always treat my graphic design with illustration because that's what I'm strong at. So if it's like a branding thing, there's for sure gonna be a mascot. There's for sure gonna be a character design. If it's like brochure, there's gonna be an illustration that takes up like the whole page. Because that's what I know is the selling factor that I can bank in on. Yeah. So in that sense, even within graphic design, there's a compass. Yeah.
Did you think that when you were in SQ, did you, or rather throughout after when you graduate from EP, did you think that graphic design would serve you well in your career?
That's a tricky thing because all my TP friends are here tuning in, but I they are better than me at graphic design. Like, yeah, it's not something I claim to be good at. At that time, we didn't have really good lecturers. Now it's different. But I don't feel confident going to the graphic. Calling myself uh like graphic artist or graphic designer and joining a company as a graphic designer. Illustrator, yes, sure, but not graphic designer. So I was a little bit iffy about that, and then and then I had the decision that I to join SQ, and that kind of took me away from having to. Yeah, and then now I'm back to graphic design, but in an art school and very art related, so it kind of marries it perfectly. Yeah.
Because you did some stuff for Lightbox, right? Because Gary is commenting that Lightbox event was super big. It looks like a big success. What was your contribution for making it happen?
This one, yeah, so actually not a lot of people know, but Lightbox Expo actually has a very small startup team. It's like mostly basically just Bobby and Jim. Bobby Chiu, Jim Demonacos, who's the founder of Emerald City Comic Con. So he knows all the mechanics of making it work, and he's that side of things. And Bobby is the art side where he knows all the artists. He knows who to bring, who people want to see, who's coming up with what, how to tie this in, right? So they make the perfect team. And then Bobby brings in Schoolism, which I'm part of, and I'm the only graphic designer in Schoolism. So naturally, he asked me, hey, maybe you can come up with a logo for Lightbox. So I did some sketches, and then Kay came in and did over my sketches, and then I made, which is like a collab almost. And then so based on Kay's paint over of my design, we kind of make the logo, which is what you see now on Lightbox. And for the first year, the whole website and everything, we did it through like a host. Now we have our own graphic designer team based in I don't know where, but it's not me anymore. But yeah, so but the first year it was pretty much I did like the signages you see if you go to Lightbox Expo, all the signages, the welcome signs, the did we have like the giveaway pamphlets, promo graphic stuff for like promotional brochures, booklets. Yeah, that's what I did for Lightbox.
Oh, so in that sense, your education at TP has served
Yeah.
you in creating
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah.
It came out full
And then
circle.
yeah, exactly. That kind of is like a I don't want to say it's a vicious one, a vicious cycle, but it did make me think like, am I going anywhere? It's a circle. I'm back to graphic design, which is what I didn't want to do. That's why I took schoolism classes so that I'm painting more. But at the same time, staying here allows me to improve my art because I get to meet all
Mm-hmm.
these amazing artists and I get to learn from them. I get to take free schoolism classes. I get to be part of Lightbox, which is something like no, like it's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I feel very privileged to do.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm, mm, mm. So it's kind of like I mean, you build a niche first, right? Because you have built up a skill set as a graphic designer, and while you're building up your skill set as an illustrator and artist, right? Your previous skill set has helped you with that as well,
yeah,
because that was something that you were kind of known for, and it's helped you
yeah,
also in building up this second niche, right?
yeah. And it's interesting because you wouldn't see how it will connect. And also my SQ background is surprisingly very helpful for my job. It's like when I go for schoolism workshops, when I go for Lightbox Expo, I have this hospitality bit in me that I think helps. I think
Mm,
uh, like uh, it's kind of helped me uh, play a part in hosting the artists or instructors who come and teach at schoolism, or like
mm,
knowing what to look out for, anticipating their needs. This is very SQ and something that's become very innate in me, become second nature. And
mm.
being the overly polite and very playing that role, yeah, that's something I'm very comfortable with, and I think
Mm,
that helped with definitely, if it's not for SQ, I wouldn't be so open to talking. I wouldn't be
mm,
so open to communicating with international people. That's
mm,
something that
mm.
SQ also, yeah, rubbed off on me.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So in a way, that all this zigzagging has actually helped you as an artist, right? Even though it may seem like they are unconnected, but as we connect the dots, it does make sense, and it kind of builds a niche for you as a brand, as well as a person and as a brand, right? Because you're known to be this hospitable person, and you can do graphic design, and as a great illustrator as well, right?
You brand one or not? I brand one. I don't think anybody knows me as that. Yeah, people only tell me that I'm overly polite, blah blah blah. I don't be like that, blah blah blah. But nobody brands me as like a super hospitable. Only Dom lah. Yeah,
No, okay.
yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Great. So we're coming towards the end of our show right now. Shen, do you have any like pro tip that you can like share with like all the folks here
First, I
today?
have to be a pro.
You are a
Uh,
pro. You
pro
are a
tip.
pro.
Huh. Which aspect though? Uh, yeah, which
Which aspect
aspect?
is most important for you? Or plays the biggest aspect of your career?
I mean, I hear a lot of people say this. I don't know why they have to even say it, but a lot of people, the tip they give is big artists. The
Hmm.
tip they give is be nice. I'm like, what? Why would you not be like? Yeah. So I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, I think that has also led me to where I am. Just being like a real friendly, or like I don't know, I'm not maybe not friendly, but just a decent person, right? And then I would say this this thing is just very personal for me. I have a kind of like, not say motto. I don't follow it all the time, but I feel like in everything I do, I give 110. And another thing recently that I feel like I need to keep coming back to is to always a lot of your art or like your style, right? It has to do with self discovery, what you like, what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing your aesthetics that defines your style. And how do you do that? You make a list, you have a board, and I think, yeah, not a lot of people do that. Like, I mean, I learned this late, so I'm just saying, like, in case you don't know, in case you're like me, one lost fly in the universe. But yeah, make a list of what you like, what you don't like, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, what kind of art style you can appreciate but don't necessarily want to do. not that keeps me a little bit more anchored and feel okay. I don't feel overwhelmed or stressed when I look at Instagram and then I see like, wow, this person can draw this like very painterly stuff that is very nice. But yeah, I can appreciate it, but do I want to do it? That's something that not a lot of people get to. I don't know, maybe they do, but I didn't, suddenly until later that I didn't get to
Mm.
ask myself. I only know I liked it, but I didn't. So I was a bit lost, and then yeah, this helps. Yeah. So maybe
Mm.
that's the advice I would give.
Okay, so it seems like your friends have some questions before we end off today. Okay, so Lee Wen asks, any pro tips you have learned from Bobby?
Wow, this one so many. Yeah, Bobby is awesome. So he's not afraid to share with me like tips that art tips you can always go on TrueStream, right? But personal tips, he's very clever and he's very business minded in that sense. So he has all these tips and tricks about uh, the business aspect of things, how to get your Instagram post up, how to get more followers, how to get, like he's the one who taught me that. I mean, everybody knows this now, but at the time it was really new. Like the time of the day that you post on Instagram matters. Um, who is your main audience? If you're catering for the states, if that's your audience, cater it to that time. How many posts you should post in a day? And then he even has this thing where he notices like the caption that you put on Instagram, what catches people's eye, and like what pushes the algorithm up so that you get seen more. And then he plays with like advertising and making your post be the first thing that people see. Things like that I cannot even fathom. So he would be very open to teach me these things, and these are things that as an artist you won't think you need to be like care, or you don't think you feel like you need to do, but you're selling yourself, right? Your own salesperson. So your own branding, your own marketing, you're doing all this essentially. Yeah, so that's something I learned from Bobby. And again, I'm gonna say like Stanley, he's very good at branding himself, and there's a certain brand. He's got a certain like like Bobby's brand himself as like the inspirational artist that motivates you. You go to him for this and that. That's something he also taught me. What kind of artist are you? Show represent that, and not necessarily I apply to myself, but that's something I learned and I see other people do that and it's successful.
Mm.
Yeah.